Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, host of Bachelor Nation News. Let's get into it. How Zach was coaxed into The Bachelor. He said, for a long time, I didn't want to be The Bachelor. And look, I feel like it's the same thing as the presidency, right? Anyone who should be the president wouldn't want to be the president. Anyone who wants to be the president shouldn't be the president. It's a soulless, life-sucking role. And of course, we know the lead of The Bachelor and Bachelorette gets placed under extreme scrutiny. And why would anyone want to do that? Well, Zach explains his process and what convinced him to end up taking the role. We're going to play two different interviews that he has. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content, and also Bachelor Rush Hour, the afternoon podcast. Now, as you guys know, I'm just going to go show you this right now, a link tree. If you go to my link tree right here, I've got all of the different ways you can support the channel, from Patreon to PayPal, Venmo, and I've also got my stand-up show February 15th with Katie Thurston. But when you go to buy tickets, I have to tell you, we just found this out. It is a special event, and it is 100% sold out. Now, there might be a few tickets that get released on the day if people decide not to show up, but it is sold out, baby. I want to thank you guys so much for booking that all in advance. You guys are the best. All right, let's get into it. Here's what Zach said on Bachelor Party, the podcast. They interviewed him and released it, I believe, yesterday. And then I'm going to share what he said in another interview, with feeling like, I don't know if this process is going to work out. And then right after the limo exits, he said, oh yeah, it's going to go just fine. Have a listen.
Zach, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining me. How are you feeling? You're the Bachelor.
You're the Bachelor.
What's your primary emotion?
I don't think I have one. I think it's like a million. I mean, it's obvious excitement. I mean, the nerves, the anxiety, but mainly excitement.
That's great.
All I can ask for.
What's your plan for watching the show? Like, will you be watching in
will you be hiding in a cave? Will you be with friends?
Isolation? Do you have like a security blanket? Will you have family with you? Like what?
Yeah, Zach should have a weighted blanket. Here's my discount code for weighted blankets when you have anxiety from watching yourself make out with 7 women on the first night.
What's your plan for surviving this experience?
That's a great question, because last season, I mean, every time I was ever on TV, I was just pacing the room. I think I was hugging a pillow. I was like, I couldn't look. So this time around, it'll be a little tough. I think for the first episode, watching it with the family, watching it with some friends, but all the other ones, no way. By myself
No way.
In a dark room.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And of course, they get the episodes in advance. You know, they'll get sent a Dropbox link the day before with the episode. So the leads do have the ability to watch the show in advance most of the time.
Okay. But where do you live? Because I was confused.
All right, so he lives in Anaheim. Let's just fast forward a little bit. He goes to Disney World.
But we could do family reunions out at Disney every other year.
Disneyland, I should say.
They're iconic, though.
They're iconic. He's very memorable.
Mine's Desperado for sure. It's very fun.
So she just discussed what type of Seinfeld episode he liked, because his uncle was Putty in Seinfeld.
Filming The Bachelorette, and I was just honored and shocked.
All right, so here's where he discusses the difference between being on The Bachelorette versus taking the role as the lead.
Good question. For a long time, I didn't want to be The Bachelor.
Do they have to coax you into it?
A little bit. Like, I was reached out to a few weeks or so after filming The Bachelorette, and I was just honored and shocked to be considered. So, I mean, I asked myself, do I really want to go through all of that again? What's going to happen? I mean, it's really putting myself out there. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell happened last season. And it took quite a few conversations, but it really came down to the fact of, okay, like, I know what I want. Like, I'm ready to settle down and find my person with the show or without the show. And, you know, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
I wonder if he got over Rachel. Again, this is just a thought. I wonder if he got over Rachel faster than Rachel got over Clayton. And I don't know. It's just a hypothesis, because Rachel's season was so tough for her, you know, as she has said, and ended up with her being single. But I wonder if Rachel's time, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I feel like her time as Bachelorette after getting dumped by Clayton or breaking up with Clayton was a quicker turnover, versus Zach seems to have had more clarity after his fantasy suite with Rachel. More clarity that, oh, this wasn't going to work out. She wasn't the one I thought I loved, blah, blah, blah. So only a couple week turnaround between that moment and finding out you're going to be the next Bachelor, and then several months go by as you prepare to be the Bachelor, where you can, of course, it's like they say, he only knew Rachel for a few weeks, so even if he built this incredible trust and love for her, it was only after a couple of weeks. So you'd think a few months go by, he'd be over her.
Why not?
Interesting. Did you
Why
have any
not?
crazy demands? Like, I must be able to do X, Y, or Z?
One demand: I needed music. Needed it.
Interesting. Like listening to it?
It's so basic. It's like, I had a demand that I get to listen to music. It's like, you just wanted some music, maybe some water. Could I have a Snickers bar every once in a while? Obviously, they're kind of like kept from society. They take their phones away. They do all these things. Give the guy some music. Let him just kind of relax. I got to tell you, music's so important. You forget. Planning on my wedding day, my wife, my fiance at the time, Tasha, wouldn't let me see her, obviously. So she put me in a blindfold and kicked me out. And we were at the resort, 50 people plus, and I went to my buddy Andy, who had a room on the other side of the resort. I was like, I got to hang out with you all day. I'll get ready with you. And I just remember showering in his hotel room, and we had ordered room service and everything. And he had a playlist going on, some good country music. And I was like, it was like my shower before my wedding. I get emotional just thinking about it, how important that music was to kind of calm my nerves down, to give the vibes the right sort of energy. And that's what good music does to us. So for him to just be like, yeah, I want to be able to get ready for a date with some music, and what that probably does for him is gets him out of his head. Don't overthink things. Just chill out. That's what he's asking for. I just want to be able to chill out.
Needed listening to music, like having like a Spotify or just listening to podcasts, like anything to just kind of have an escape. Because, there's no phones or anything like that when we're filming. Sure. But if I had some pump up music before getting ready for a date, I mean, made the world.
Is that not usually allowed?
Well, not typically. You're so busy getting ready for the date, and there's like all this like pre stuff you have to do. Whereas fortunately, if I had some free time, it's like, all right, 30 minutes before we got to bounce to the date, I'm just bumping something, and
trying to bump some music before we bump some Harrisons. All right, folks. Well, that whole conversation can be found on Bachelor Party, the podcast. Let's go to a clip from Zach on Bachelor Nation's YouTube channel, answering some questions about how he felt after the limo exits.
In that moment, what was it about the limo entrances that kind of gave you that gut feeling?
It's hard to like pinpoint like how at least my gut like gave me that feeling, but what I felt was, initially your mind's going 1,000 miles an hour. Like, is this going to work for me? Am I going to, find my best friend? Is everyone taking this seriously, or how is this going to work? And after actually just seeing everyone and having that brief, a few minutes with each of them, something was just telling me inside, I'm like, wow, like all these women are incredible. Like, this is like, I'm so fortunate and lucky to even be here. And
you are
like, I don't have any doubt that someone really special is here for me. Like it's weird. And I can't have an exact moment. I don't think there was. It was just an overall feeling.
That's cool that your intuition was that in tune with itself so early on. Do you think it was helpful for you having former bachelors like Jesse Palmer, and we saw Sean Lowe as well, in the promo there by your side? Sean even mentioned, I believe on Bachelor Happy Hour, that you guys FaceTimed a few times throughout the season. Like, was that a helpful relationship for you to have mentors like that?
Absolutely. For myself, like I didn't want to come in with like any like real rules or like a playbook or anything like that. Like just experiencing it like fully. I'm
gonna go ahead and say this camera angle isn't the most flattering whenever you shoot from low, but I like what he's saying. By the way, who is this host interviewing him for Bachelor Nation? I don't know who that is, but she's doing a good job.
And having their advice did play a big role, though, because it was their advice and support mainly. With Jesse throughout it, like Jesse and I, great friends. Whenever I wanted to just like bounce any ideas off of him, he was always there. And supported me through it all. And with Sean, he cracks me up like no other. The guy is like, I don't think a lot of people know, but he is hysterical. And he just made me feel more comfortable and confident going into the whole thing, because you can't help but have your mind race and you're like, oh, am I good enough? Can I handle this? But he was there and supported me. And he's like, dude, you got this. Like, it's going to be one hell of a time. Love it. Embrace it. Be yourself. Don't try to be who, others want you to be. Just be the Zach that you've always been. And
that's like one of those inspirational quotes you put on your trapper keeper. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the Zach you want to be. I'm going to be the Dave I want to be. By the way, speaking of being who you want to be, maybe this is a good way to end this. I am going to be who I am on my channel, but I can't help but laugh. And I don't mean this to bring any negativity. I laugh so much at the negative reviews that we get on some of the people who listen to the new podcast Bachelor Rush Hour, which is available every afternoon. Now, the majority of the reviews, like 90+%, are 5-star reviews, but there are people that every single 1-star review we have gotten has been political. So this person left a review, which I thought was a ton of fun. Their initial review was a 3-star, and it said, content's choppy, Dave talks too fast without breathing. Kind of true. Seems like a nice guy, but I've seen some reviews of his podcast about politics. What does that mean? So your review is based off of reviews you've seen of other reviews? If Dave ventures into wokeness communism, I'm out. I don't know if this person understands what communism is. And then they updated it to a 1-star review. They went from 3 to a 1, and they said, update, Dave hasn't fixed his manic delivery. And again, brings up politics. Unsubscribed. Biden is the most racist and most divisive president we've ever had. Your take is mind-numbing. Downgraded to 1 star. Again, I personally don't know what they're talking about. I don't know, guys. Folks get triggered. We live in this niche is so interesting because it's a combination of people with diverse viewpoints. But I don't know how I became the communist. And I don't even know what. I'm speechless, guys. I'm speechless. We found out yesterday that the crazy person, I hate to even use the C word crazy, but the person who called in under multiple different voicemails to complain about my podcast actually is the same person who called in a month ago. So now they've called in, and this might be the same commenter. I'm really not sure. But they called in 3 different times with 3 different names. And I guess these people exist. I guess this is what happens. It's been fun to watch, though, on just a side note, because the podcast is the first time we've had like a rating system. So every once in a while we get bad comments here or there. But now we get to see the comments from people that want to control your thoughts. And hey, look, am I manic? I mean, look, here's the review we got the other day. So it's like, it's on the soundboard now. I'm despicable, apparently, for my coverage.
You're despicable. And I've unfollowed you. I've unsubscribed. I will never listen to your podcast again. So try to be a little more compassionate. Bye, loser.
So if you want to check out that Despicable podcast, link in the comment section below.
I know you're a comedian, but not everything is funny.
All right, folks. Well, these reviews keep on getting funny. I appreciate it. I'm taking them on the chin like a man. Keep on doing it. Review it however you want. Link in the comment section if you want to listen to the podcast and write a review. You can do whatever you want with those reviews. Do they really matter? Not really, but it's always kind of fun to see. It's almost like they always say, like, you never want a restaurant with like a 5-star review on Yelp. You want like one with like a 3.8. You want people who either love it or hate it, You want that, too spicy 1-star review. So spicy 5-star review. Which type of spice do you guys want? More content coming your way right after this.